Hello, good morning, everyone. Mic check, mic check. If you can hear me, please say yes on the comment section. And let me see. Let's wait for our co-hosts, Kay and Anna. And good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Nurse Paul. We are doing another episode of DNP Unlocked, and I'm streaming live here from the Philippines. And last week we talked about travel nursing. This week we'll talk about success, how to be a successful travel nurse. This is episode 26, and we have a very special guest. And I hope you guys can hear me properly. And let's wait for Kay and Anna. How is everyone doing? If you guys are watching us today, please um, use the comment section and tell us where you guys are coming from. Hello, Marvin. Marvin is watching us from Amsterdam. I'm currently streaming live, guys, from the Philippines. 8 p.m. here in the Philippines. Hello, Kay. I don't think I can hear again. Something wrong with my connection. Okay. I think
Hello, can you
something's
guys
failing with
hear
my.
me now?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes, yes, absolutely.
great.
Yes,
Good
yes.
morning. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone around the world, in the Philippines,
Uh-huh.
and all our friends here in the United States. Good morning. Happy Sunday. How are you,
Happy,
Paul?
doing good. Well, um, I'm like 13 hours ahead of UK, and I'm over here in my favorite island in the Philippines. Welcome to Boracay.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yes.
That's one of
But
my favorite places to go, especially now. I've heard that the government rehabbed the island itself and it's
mm-hmm,
way cleaner, much better. So
mm-hmm.
it's 6 oh sorry, 9 p.m. right there, correct?
It is 9 p.m. That is
N-
correct. I
n-
just finished
n-
my dinner, and it's morning
Yeah.
there in the US.
Yes, it is a Sunday, good Sunday morning here.
Yep,
Weather's
yep.
okay. I hope around the world, around the US, everybody who got hit by the storm, I think for the past few days, I hope you guys are okay. We're praying
Mm-hmm.
for you. But Sunday is bright and shiny here. There's we always say there's always a light at the end of the tunnel of the storms, right? So,
Right, right,
or
right.
always rainbow after the show. So, but anyway, not further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest today. So Drew is one of our travel nurse guide admin in one of the Facebook groups. He's been travel experienced traveler, and I'd like to bring it's an honor to bring him here with us to discuss about his experiences in travel. I've seen him, I followed him as soon as he jumped into travel nursing. I've seen how he succeeded to be one, and I'm very proud of him. Let's welcome Drew. You're mute, Drew.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Good morning, Drew. How are you
Morning. How are
doing?
y'all?
Great. Thank you, Drew. So, would you like to give some introduction about yourself, like how long you've been traveling, where you're from, and some personal background on what you're
Sure.
doing now?
My name is Drew, like Kay said. I became an RN in 2015. I worked in a large hospital in an ER for a couple years and then started traveling. So I've been traveling since 2017. Just like most folks, I was very overwhelmed when I first started. I had lots of fears, even kind of got taken advantage of during my first contract. But I really kind of put my head down and tried to figure out how to fix those issues. Did tons of research, kind of figured out how to be the most successful, in my opinion. Um, and that's kind of what led to me starting my Facebook group, where I've helped thousands of others do the same thing. So
It's one of the best resource that I've seen out there, Drew, and we thank you for that. I've been following that group for a long time. So if you guys are new nurses here in the United States, or if you have planned to be a travel nurse at one point of your life, so I'd recommend checking Drew's page called Travel Nurse Guide. Drew, by the way, your specialty.
yeah, I've been an ER nurse since 2015. I actually have recently stepped out of the ER and I took a staff job in the cath lab. So kind of changing things up with a new baby at home and family now. Traveling just isn't what's best for me at the moment. So I'm still very involved. Still love helping others, navigate the travel nurse life.
That's awesome. Cat lab is it's not a very famous specialty among nurses. It's very small pool, but I have seen the demand for it. Well, you have one kid, correct? One child right
Correct.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
15-month old.
and you met your wife during the travel contract.
Yeah, my first contract, I actually met my wife, who was a nurse in the ER that I traveled to. We kind of hit it off eventually, and she started traveling with me, and so it's been really cool having a partner with me through the whole traveling journey. Also
That
helps with expenses.
yeah, that's awesome. And both of you are ER, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys are traveling together. This is a very great strategy that a lot of people would, that I would recommend a lot of people. So,
Absolutely.
while waiting for Paul, he just suddenly disappeared. Paul, are you okay? I think you enjoyed the beach too much. So we'll wait for Paul, but for the meantime, viewers, you can put in the comment where are you watching from. I see Marvin watching from Amsterdam. He's our nurse from California, and now he's in Amsterdam. He's traveling a lot. He's a full-time staff. He's one of our co-admins in the group. But I love him. He's just traveling a lot and enjoying his life while he can, right? And that's what it's the
Whatever
most
makes you
important thing. Correct. So Zoe says hi. Okay, hi Zoe. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Paul. So I don't know what happened to Paul. I think he was having some internet connection because Boracay. I'd like to invite you, Drew, to travel to Philippines one time. Boracay is situated in south of Manila, and it's one of the best beaches in the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah, so I recommend you going there. Yeah, the Filipinos are the minority there, so it's a tourist spot.
Oh, really?
So anyway, so moving forward, uh, Paul and Anna, when you guys are ready, feel free to jump in. Paul said his PC froze, so we'll just wait for him shortly. But anyway, so first question here, Drew. We have a lot of challenges as travel nurses, and everybody thinks travel nursing is the greener pasture, the greener side, and people would live their full time job and their families behind, thinking that this is a walk in the park. But in reality, you get hit with a reality that's not. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges,
No,
correct?
absolutely. There's definitely challenges, and I can only imagine it with a family. As I kind of recently said, pay rates haven't been great recently, but the main reason was my family having a newborn at home.
Yeah.
The pay rates just kind of solidified that decision as well,
Yeah.
which was the main reason why I kind of stepped into a staff position. There's definitely lots of challenges. I traveled with two dogs, which kind of came with their own challenges. I can only imagine, traveling with a child, having to line up daycare, so often, if you're jumping from contract to contract. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's impossible. I don't personally know any travel nurses that have traveled with family, but I've definitely heard of it. If you have a spouse or somebody that can work remote and travel with you, I think that's your best option. And then, maybe homeschooling as well. But yeah, I mean, it can be done.
Thank you for that, Drew. Oh, Paul's back. Paul, hi. How are you
Sorry about
doing?
that, Drew. Okay, that is very embarrassing. The power went out, and I've had this set up for 3 hours. Everything was going smoothly during my dry run. I don't know. It started. I don't know. It The whole island was dead. I don't know what happened, but I'm happy that I'm back.
We know you
Hi,
went to
Drew.
the beach.
Yes, we
But
were like, oh
that was
no, Paul,
embarrassing.
maybe he's enjoying his
How are
beaches.
you today?
I'm doing good, sir. Well, I'm happy that you're here today to join us, and I hope Anna was here. But thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll go over we'll quickly Mohammed Ahmed's watching us from Ghana. He's a new RN. Mohammed, thanks for joining us, and I hope this will give you a gist of a free trailer about what travel nursing is. And McRunan said, this is a great topic, very timely. I'm almost done with my contract. Thanks, admin. So Drew, majority of our foreign nurses coming to the United States come with 2 years and 3 years contract. Sometimes it's even stipulated hours, 5,000 hours or 6,000 hours. So a lot of them are actually looking into the possibility of doing this because majority of Philippines, I'm going to tell you briefly that majority of the Philippines are used to traveling. You know, we call ourselves overseas Filipino workers, which means that we leave our country to do to do what traveling nurses do, work for a specific contract and bring home the money, bring home the gold, right? So it is very common for us. And when I started doing traveling, I said this is challenging to a lot of different cultures who are not used to how Filipinos do it for being away from the family. But this is a very acceptable scenario or setup with a lot of Filipino families. So just to give you a background, since majority of our viewers are international, we'd like to give you that insight that before I didn't see a lot of travel nurses when I started this in 2007. I mean, when I first heard of it, 2007, I jumped in 2008, 2009. And it's not common to be done by, nurses. So anyway, going back, the first challenge among among new nurses like Macarena, no, she's new here in the United States. One of her probably the challenging part will be where to start, right? So, Paul, did you have goals when you first signed up that contract? Did you put it
Uh,
in
uh,
writing?
well, I sure did. First was financial reasons. Of course, I was not going to move somewhere to make almost the same amount as what I'm making with my full time job because there's really no reason to move or to find a job somewhere in another city and to double the expenses if I'm not going to make more. So, first thing that I needed to um, put in my goal is the financial aspect, and of course, the logistics of moving because at that time I was also looking at moving to Houston, like I shared last week. But my friend told me instead of moving directly to Houston, try one or two contract first and see if you like the city, see if you like the workplace culture. That way, if you don't like it, then at least you're not tied up there for a year or two, or you don't have to work full time there, which actually made sense. So at that time, I was also looking at the logistics, like which part of the city am I gonna like um, get a house or rent, right, or whatever. But definitely the financial aspect, and second was it doable? Because like you said, you have to double your expenses, you have to live in another city, which you're probably not accustomed to. I started my job in the U.S. in a small town, Texas, and now I'm moving to Houston with like 8 million people. So totally different world, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? Did you have like a time frame that when you studied what your goals are and then said, okay, I'm gonna go jump in now? Did you set your goals and how long did it take you before you take your first contract?
Well, first off, I think that's a great question that a lot of travel nurses just don't, they look over the importance of it. Because when there's so many options traveling, it is always good to be able to go back and look at your goals. Why am I doing this? When you maybe you have three contract options, and you're having a hard time deciding, sometimes it's better to look back at your goals. Am I doing this for an experience? Am I trying to learn? Or am I, trying to make the most money possible? And again, you can have all those goals, but prioritizing them definitely helps. For me, it was definitely like Paul said, I was very financially driven. I always been financially driven, which was my highest priority. So yeah, I mean, and your goals are allowed to change as well. For one contract, I took it in a location. It was a beach destination. Housing was just astronomical. But the reasoning for taking that was to enjoy the summer, be in a good location. And so my goals kind of changed, so have goals in mind, but don't be afraid to change them as you grow and, get further into your travel experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, after your first contract, did you say, like Drew said, did you change your goals after that? It was like first it was
Well,
financial, then later on
or-
after the first contract, was there a moment that you said, okay, this is not just for financial? Like, was there a moment like
well,
that?
see, my situation is a little different because it was right. My first contract was also right into the pandemic. It was such a perfect timing where I was finishing my full time contract with my first job in the U.S. and I was ready to move. And I started looking for a job 3 months prior, 6 months prior, and I already found a job. And then the pandemic hit. So my first job was technically right during the pandemic. So um, I didn't change my goals much because I was still in Houston. I was finishing my first contract. I'm on my 13th week, and FEMA came into Houston after New York, right, and started mass hiring nurses. And I was just at the right place at the right time. So instead of recontracting with my hospital, I'm actually an internal traveler. Um, I contracted with the agency with Angel Staffing at that time, so I started working for them for another several months. So I think it's 1 year. But right after that, I was like, you know what? I think you know I think I've gone around Houston much already. So I want to try another city, and that's when my plan changed a little bit. Like what Drew was saying, flexibility. I want to try a new city, and at that time, Houston, it was summer, very humid, very hot. I want to go up north. And what better place to go than my favorite American city, Chicago? So that's when I went to Chicago because I want to spend summer there, but also to get a contract over there. So, like, I agree with Drew. It has to be something flexible as well, depending on your personal situation.
Yeah, everybody was thinking like, when I started this traveling gig, it was paying a lot of money. Actually, it's not. I was tell them when I started this traveling gig, it was not making any more of a salary than their staff. And you're seeing that salary right now. Okay, so if you're asking me what does the salary look like 10 years ago, it was very similar to what it is right now. It does not make sense to a lot of people out there, and you should have a goal. And like Drew and Paul said, that they have to financial was their motivation. As for me, my reason for traveling before was just to get experience. So I ended up in the middle of nowhere from New York City, and then was the assignment in like farm area. And I'm so used to the New York City wearing stiletto boots, coat, trench coat. And then everybody looked at me on my first day because I did not realize the setting was like that. But for me, I was just, having good experience. But actually, it was a good experience, not only clinical for me, but as well as, as a person that, you have to be culturally adapting to that location too. Right. So, for me it was an experience because I was jumping into nursing education, and as a new immigrant to the United States, there's no way for me to teach US healthcare if I don't know US healthcare. I know Filipino healthcare. It's just like, you get sick, you have no insurance, okay, deal with it. But American health system is not that way. So for me, I jump in because I know I will understand more of the picture of the healthcare. Dr. Farah Laurent is joining us. What's up, y'all? I used to be an
Hi,
emergency
Farah.
department travel nurse, left Canada, and moved to New York City. I was not getting much money when I first started. Dr. Farah Laurent, what year did you start traveling? Because this is where a lot of new nurses and interesting nurse. Yeah, no, there she is. There you
Hi,
go.
Bruce.
Hi,
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 Anne.
Anna. How are
Hi,
you?
Finally.
DrNursePaul. I'm sorry. I finished my class. and I'm still at work, but I already
Just
up.
looks like you're still in green scrubs. Right?
Like, bro, hi all, how's the weather there?
Hot and humid, tropical weather. I love
Okay.
it, but I also don't love it. But
Can you hear me,
hey, I'm
guys?
in the best beach in the world, so I can't
Yeah.
complain.
Yeah, we're cold here. Drew, your weather in Georgia, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Georgia
It's been
it's
nice this
warm.
week. So
That's awesome. So Dr. Farlarent commented she started traveling in 2010. Oh my God. Yeah, New York City was a hub for a couple of travelers back then already. Um, that's where I learned about travel nursing. One of the nurses who was actually in New York City when I was fulfilling my 3 years contract said, there's a traveler. I'm like, what is this traveler? You know, when you have like sense of being an investor, buy the rumors, sell the news. So I kind of like that. So when you hear something new, dip, put your head in it and explore. So Anna, we were just talking about the challenges and the things that motivated you to travel. So can you give us your experience on like what helped you motivate or triggered you to start traveling?
It's all about the money. Well, I started traveling 2019 because my mom was getting sick. She had a cancer, and I'm the only child, bro. I actually enrolled in one of your class before I started my traveling. So, and I said, wow, I'm working 80 hours per week, and it's still not enough. I want to be smart too, like hey. So I said, let me try traveling. But I know Brew before pay. That's why I enroll or watch some of Brew's lesson. Actually, I printed the paperwork. I still have it, Brew, and I still share it to other people. So the money was my motivator to travel and to help my mom in the Philippines. And then I traveled for 5 years only. When I got the house, I stopped traveling now. But I don't miss it. I'm happy now where I am. But I've learned a lot from Brew, especially with health insurance and signing up with a lot of agencies.
So Anna did 5 years. Drew, you did total of
traveling since 2017.
yeah,
So about seven
that's
years.
it's about 7 years.
Okay.
And Paul, how many
Well,
years in total before you jump back to your Paul now is working as a nurse practitioner. So how
Yeah,
many years did you do travel nursing, Paul?
total 2 years. About how many contracts? 11 or 12.
Yes. So you can as you can see, everybody did different years because when I'm pretty sure there was an exit plan that you did, right? And you
yeah.
said to yourself, when I started this were my goals. But when should I stop? Because a lot of people I've seen travelers that are traveling until when they're like 50 years old, 60 years old, and I'm like, I have nothing against it, but I think there are risks involved when you are later in your life, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Paul, what was your exit? When did you realize that okay, this is it for me? I am going back now to nurse practitioner.
Okay, first of all, the pandemic contracts were brutal. I was working 60, 72 hours on top of NP school,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a financial goal. I know it was brutal to my body, but I did it for 3 to 4 months at a time, take 1, 2 months off, and then do it again. I'm sorry about the background noise. There's like a concert down here. It's a little loud, but
We don't hear it
the
much. Don't worry.
you don't hear it much.
I
Okay,
mean, just a
thank
little
God.
bit.
But the thing is, I know that it was a little brutal to my body, but I also had financial goals. I was trying to save
Mm-hmm.
up money, invest as much as I can, and build a house for my mom in the Philippines. As soon as I finished that, I feel like okay, one of my goals. I'm done, so I can slow down. After that, I started just working 3 days a week. I'm not picking up extra shifts anymore. My main exit strategy is of course my nurse practitioner job, right? Because eventually I'm going to finish school, I'll pass my
Mm-hmm.
boards, I would have to transition to being an NP. So I finished my last job, which is Hawaii, one of my favorite assignments, October 2022, but it didn't start working as an NP till like 6 8 months later. because I,
Mhm.
as travel nurses, we had the ability to go off for a few months, take a break and, look at the bigger picture, step back a bit and say, what is my next plan? That is because of the financial gains that we have as a travel nurse. We don't have to be tied up with our jobs because we have flexibility because of the finances. So I had that time to really think about what I want. Should I go back, take another travel job, or should I start doing MP? But my exit strategy was being an NP.
That awesome, Paul, and you did it in a very short time. You came here in the United States. You came here later than Anna and me, and what you have accomplished is tremendous in that short moment.
2017. Yep.
Yeah, short
Thank
moment
you.
of time. That's the time when Drew started traveling, 2017, right? And
I was new here in the US.
yeah, he was just a trailblazer. He was like laser focused on what he wants to do, right?
And
Um,
you stuck to it.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? I know that the rates went down. ER was not as, you and Paul are ER nurses. Me and
Mhm.
Anna are OR nurses. When pandemic came, it was just like the Bitcoin of cases, right? It just went to the moon. The demand for ER nurses was very high. It was just, tremendous demand, tremendous in, income. But as 2022, 23, 24, came, the prices of hiring a travel nurses went down. Um, During that time, what's your exit plan?
Um, you know, I will say the rate dropping the way it did, it really kind of shocked me. I was not expecting it. I even kind of shared with people that the rates were going to go down, but I never expected them to be where they are today, because we do have such a national nursing shortage. Um, so I really, like I said, I was kind of in shock when the rates started dropping to the levels they are now. And I didn't really see rates drop. I think in 2023, I was still getting paid pretty much what I was through the entire COVID. It wasn't until about mid 2023, um, or maybe early 2023, when the rates really started dropping drastically. And that's what I've seen over the past 12 months.
I'm pretty sure the hospitals are happy to hear our LinkedIn webinar today. Guys are doing a great job, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
I
want to shout
share.
out to our nursing leadership.
Whatever it is, it's working.
Yeah,
Because
whatever it is, AHA, right?
I was like, you know
AONL,
what?
you're
I'll
doing a
just do
great
MP
job.
because MP is paying more now than travel nursing.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. It's working, but whatever.
Our AONL friends, AHA friends, you're doing a tremendous job. I mean, I don't, I'm not sad about it, because travel nursing has never been as high rate as before. Anyway, I'm very happy that the hospital are putting their feet down, saying to staffing companies, you cannot price gauge over prices or price
Mhm.
gouging, and then even though I'm not gonna say to you that I love the rates are low. No, of course not. That would be hypocrite of me, right? Because I'm a traveling nurse too for 17 years, right? For 16 to 17 years I've been traveling, but I do know that there's an impact of the healthcare cost when nurses are paid $100,000 a year. It will impact us all, but I think the proper regulation should be done. I'm not saying that we should be paid low. I'm not saying that we should be. We deserve to be paid $200,000 a year. I've seen somebody who was a traveling nurse being paid almost $300,000 a year, because it creates a disruptive. Our topic is disruptive nurse perspective,
Mhm.
right? So it creates a disruption when you are creating a 2-year program, a nursing program that will be paid more than a doctor. I think it creates a huge disruption in there. So for me, I think what nurses should be paid is whatever to the amount of job that they're doing and the risks that are involved. That's the right way to do it. The risks involved, the nurses deserve to be paid well, for sure. Especially ER nurses who get
Yeah.
who's the
Yeah.
frontliners of those workforce
Mm-hmm.
abuse, right? Workplace abuse. You guys get hit already, right?
Yes.
With patients. Paul, you have an experience of being hit or being assaulted or
Well,
by a patient?
not me. My coworker is right in front of me, but okay, I'm 5'4". I'm tiny. I can sneak out quickly. So
How about Drew?
I'm still
Drew,
lucky to be
Drew.
able
You know,
to
I'm
run out of
actually
the room very, very quickly, but
How tall are you, Drew?
I'm 6'4".
Oh, 6'4".
Oh,
Yeah.
Were you?
So
Was there ever a chance that you were, physically assaulted by a patient?
no, I've been lucky. There's been a couple very close incidences, but I've never been hit. I've actually never been spit on, so it's been quite nice.
oh.
I
I
think
tell-
so, somebody who can spit you will be probably 7-footer, right?
yeah.
Paul, you and Paul beside each other. I don't think Paul will ever spit on you like that. It's gonna be too high for projectile. Yeah.
the patients can be very talented. Let me tell you that.
Oh, sure. ER patients are very talented, but I think there should be a pay when it comes to the risks involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is definitely there. Which right now I don't think the pays right now are related to the risks that are involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Farah mentioned that she's also an ER nurse and she did it for 2 years. Snap! I wish I had the money while traveling back then, but I love it. Yeah, the pay's not a lot. My pay first job was 1,600 a week. So if you can
Mm.
compare that right now, that's way below than staff nurse
Mm-hmm.
in major big cities, right? So but it's a good thing that we always have to understand that when you travel, there should be a start goal and then there should be an exit plan, right? And your
Mm-hmm.
goals can be changing, and that's totally fine, right? Next question. There are too many agencies right now. These nurses are kind of like lost. Where should they start? How are they should start? Drew, what's your best advice
Yeah.
on that?
Oh
Yeah.
man, this is what I preach on all the time. There are lots of agencies, and what I tell people is I work with all of them. Um, if you're just getting started, I know it can be overwhelming. What I briefly tell people is you should work with at least 3 to 5 agencies, closer to 5 in my opinion, and I think 2 to 3 of those should be the large agencies. I don't know. Do you want us to name any of those or?
No, we don't want to name them.
Okay, I got
They're
um,
good. They have money already for marketing.
I gotcha. So
Love it. Yep.
I would pick 2 to 3 large agencies, and then maybe 2 or 3 agencies that maybe cater to something along with your goals, like maybe an agency that does local contracts around where you would like to kind of make a base at or a home at, or maybe an agency that does PRN contracts. I'm always willing to add to my list of agencies that I work with. And every time I get to an end of a contract, I kind of circle back around to all of them, see what they have available. I'm not loyal to any of them. It's all about the money. Whoever can offer me the most money for the
Mm-hmm.
contract that I want. And I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
How about you, Anna? How many agencies have you worked with for past, the 5 years that you've been traveling?
Well, since I've learned first from Drew, yeah, I have 5 or more. I have 5 or more. I have a bigger one. I have a smaller agency, and I have a local that pay for local. Like Drew or like most of us, we're not loyal to anyone except for my husband. So when it comes to so whenever I work, the hospital will say, "That's it. You're leaving me." I said, "Listen, I'm not loyal. I'm not committed. My only commitment is for my husband and for the money. So whoever offers and my role will work, I'll go there." So how about you, Kay? How many
Oh,
agencies? I think you won. You won.
yeah, right. So I have a habit of like almost every after contract, I have to look for 3 other agencies. And how
Mm,
many contracts I have done, it's like exponential, right? So I would say
yeah.
I have seen and I have worked with 40 plus agencies in the span of 17 years.
40.
Yeah, 40. So there I can like rank them who's the number one. Like Drew said that I have a combination too. Like I put the one that has big companies that has many contracts. I like to get like companies who have exclusive contracts with hospitals, because now you're
Oh.
cutting all the other agencies that go after that. So there is a they call it MSPs, or exclusive vendors. So these vendors are the only one who can filter and bring in nurses to that hospital, especially if it's a big hospital system that has like 20 plus hospitals. So they hire vendors, they call it MSP. Okay. So, or VMS, vendor management system company. So I just go directly there, because what will this VMS or MSPs will do is they will actually subcontract those contracts anyway. So they distribute it to other companies as well, and then these smaller companies will sell them. I don't even call them anymore, subcontracts. I don't call them agencies anymore. I call them brokers. It's my own way saying that, when you have insurance, when you buy insurance, there is called the, insurance writer, correct? And then now the writer under them will be having like brokers, that I'm allowed to sell this insurance. But for me, I'd like to go to the writer directly, or who's selling this job. I don't want many more middlemen, because as if you will do what I did, that you got a lot of agencies in your list, you will realize that they are actually just marketing the same job, but they will market with different rates. It's like saying it's the same water bottle. It's just a matter of where did you buy it. It's more expensive when you buy it in the airplane where somebody's serving you, right? It's different price when you buy it in the airport. It's different price when you buy it in the tourist spot. But no, I'd like to get my water in Costco. Or BJ's, right? I like the wholesale. If I can get it directly to Aquafina, I'll get it to Aquafina. Right? So stuff like that. So, but of course, you cannot directly get it from the manufacturer. So you have to go through a company who will actually sell those in bulk, and those are called MSP or VMS, right? Paul, how about you? How many agencies have you worked in 2 years?
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier that we don't want to mention the agencies because they haven't paid us any marketing fees. But
Yeah, yeah.
but anyway,
I'm selling Costco and Aquafinas.
yeah, and I agree with Kate. They already make so much money, so they don't need this exposure. But anyway, to cut it short, I have probably more than 10 at the peak of it. And but you know what? Since my priority goal is finances, I texted the recruiters. I created profiles with them, set my skills, skills checklist and all that, whatever they need to create the profile so they can start sending jobs, right? But I, I told them, what, let's cut this conversation short. Let's go straight to the point. I want contracts that are paying $80 and above. Don't send me anything lower than that. So we don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste my time as well. So that's it. So we're clear. Anything that's 80 and below, they're not going to send that to me. But that was during the peak of pandemic as well, where ER nurses were making a lot of money. But for me, that kind of like weeds out, those contracts that I'm not interested anyway. Like I told them my filters will be 80 and above, and those states that have licenses with. I have compact license, I have license California, Hawaii, Chicago. That's it. I think that makes it easier because they know your goals right away. And for the most part, I think that these recruiters don't also want to waste their time. So I was just straightforward. And if I see like two recruiters that are offering almost similar jobs, I try to make them beat each other. I'm gonna screenshot. This is what he offered. If you can beat that, I'll go with you until I get the rate that I want. I screenshot that email, screenshot that post until I can get what I want. Because there is no way that two agencies have the same job but are offering different rates. Right? I mean, if they're getting from the same vendor, then they're also making the same money or whatever. It's not my problem. But if they really want to hire me, then they should give me what I think is due to me, right? So it's their problem. So I go to the highest bidder.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? Did you use similar strategy with Paul when negotiating your contracts? What are the other things that you've done aside from taking picture of those offers?
I would say my strategy is pretty similar to Paul here. One thing that I tell people is that it's not necessarily about the negotiation. It's it's 80% research. You know, starting out with the MSP that's offering the highest bill rate is 80% of the work. Then, you know, you can negotiate it up a little bit. You know, you can maybe ask for a little extra. It's a lot easier to do that than to try and get an agency who's $500 less a week and try and get them to negotiate them up, you know, several $100s. But yeah, I start with research. I'm always looking on online platforms, Facebook groups that offer contracts. Like Paul said, I'll screenshot things. I would write things down in my planner, you know, and I started noticing trends. Yeah, I started noticing trends. You know, this agency typically pays a little more. This agency doesn't. This agency has contracts in these states or on this side of the country. And that's what kind of really helped me, that recognize a good contract when I saw it, just by doing the research.
Thank you for that. Anna, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of competitive rates on your assignments in New York. And were there times that you did not pick up the highest paying contract, but instead you went for a different contract that paid less, but you because of some reason? And what was the reason for that, if there was?
Yeah, I fell in love again. No, I'm joking. Yes, it happened to me. I'm grateful that here in New York there's so many good rates, and yes, you're right. I go to the festival over this because I developed some relationships with other travelers. We became and it was the first time that we go out, and my husband said, "Wow, I think that the magic of money is not working with you anymore." And I was like, you know, as you grow old, you're looking for a relationship. So yes, I chose this one of the music festival in New York over this, who offers 400 or 800 more. But I stayed for a year as a local. When I regret it, no, because I was happy with the people that I worked with, but I was not ready to work as a staff nurse. So yeah, it happened to me. How about you? Have you done that?
Oh, I did couple of times that I pick up lower paying job. Um, it wasn't the highest, but because when I asked them, during that time, my goal was to create most income. The first thing I told them, what was the rate, and I asked the manager, um, hey, do you have overtime opportunities? Right. And she said, oh, don't worry, we can give you one overtime at least a week. And I said, can we have that in our contract? Can I just have contract, instead of this hours, I'll do like 4 shifts, more than. So they were able to guarantee me, specific hours for that contract. But if I go to the other job that was offering me, highest pay on a weekly basis, they said, no, we don't have overtime opportunities here because we're trying to minimize the overtime. So actually, I raked in way more going with the lower contract that has a little bit difference of, the hourly rate. But because when you're comparing it to the overtime, I was also able to negotiate the blended rate over time, not your based from your lower hourly, but actually it's a blended rate to the point that the overtime rate was, almost $240 an hour. So, something like that. I said I would come here every single hour, right? But anyway, I would recommend a lot of viewers who are interested to travel is the high rate, like Drew and Paul mentioned, like list down the companies who are giving you the best rate, and then explore what more you can compare, because some of them have variables that actually is more valuable than that high paying contract. And I'm going to tell you, if you're the highest paid contract travel nurse, you are in the first list to be removed, right? Do you agree to that, Paul and Drew and Anna? If you're
That
the
is
highest
true.
paid.
You are an expense. Yeah.
Yep. So the first thing that they will remove, the first persons that they will remove are those travel nurse who are in the contract with the highest, most expensive company, right? Because in my experience before, I was in a different contract rather than my FEMA contract colleagues, and when FEMA stopped, they were taken out, but my contract was safe. So again, crisis contracts are very good, but you have to know the risks that are involved in it, and you should always have a plan B if you guys get canceled. Um, Quick question: agree or disagree? Just say agree or disagree. All right, Paul. There's no perfect agency.
Agree.
Drew,
Agree.
Anna.
Maybe. Go.
all
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's no
right,
perfect.
all right. The best contracts are with the top hospitals of the United States. Paul, agree, disagree.
Disagree.
I
Drew,
disagree.
I'm
Anna.
New rural usually pay more. I'm sorry.
True. I disagree. I disagree. I work with bigger hospital in New York over a smaller one, and the smaller one pays more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Agree or disagree? Traveling is a tax strategy. Paul,
Agree.
Drew,
I agree.
Anna.
Yes, I agree.
It's a tax strategy, especially to those single ones who
Mhm.
have no deductibles
to,
and
to
actually
those who
no.
know how to
Yeah,
do the taxes.
Mhm.
exactly, because now you're addressing it with tax-free stipends. Okay, so I recommend everyone, you guys have one more day to file your IRS taxes.
File extension.
Oh,
File
let me
extension if
go.
you don't owe. All right, if you don't owe anything, it's fine. Talk to your CPA. Maybe you can extend. But if you owe, if you're not ready for tomorrow, I recommend you doing your manual payment, to cover your basis.
Mhm.
7% interest. All right.
Mhm.
Anyway, going back to the topic, traveling is not for all. Agree or disagree, Paul,
Agree.
I
Drew,
definitely agree.
Anna?
Yes, I agree.
All right. Next, I can go home and save on duplicated housing as a real travel nurse. Agree or disagree, Paul?
Like, say that again. Like, not
Is it I
duplicate
can go
expenses.
home? Yeah, I can go home and just save on and not duplicating housing as a
Not agree.
traveler.
I'm not gonna mess with that tax man.
Drew,
I mean, if you're getting tax-free stipends, I think I think it's safe to make sure you're duplicating
Mhm.
expenses along with your tax home as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree.
all right, Anna.
Well, when I was a newbie and I don't know Guru and Pay, my first contract, my recruiter said, "Don't worry, you won't have to duplicate your, you just have to be 80 miles away."
Oh
Thank
my
God
god,
we have
this
a capable
recruiters.
traveling like Guru and Pay. So I agree and disagree. I
Paul, in your
disagree.
circle of friends, was there anyone, just say yes or no, was there anyone in your circle of friends who got audited on taxation
Uh,
because of
they
this
never told
traveling?
me. They never told me, but I know some of them are not duplicating. So, what I could say is good luck. IRS has several years to look back.
I know, right?
How about you, Drew? In your circle of friends in traveling, do you know anybody who got audited?
I don't personally know anybody who was audited. Have I seen comments from a few nurses who said they were? Yes, but no, I don't personally know anybody who was audited.
Or how about you, Anna?
Not yet.
Nah. Yeah. Do you know who's the top states and cities who actually are very good in auditing all this? Can you
I
guess, Paul?
know.
Who? Give
Like,
a state. Give one state
what,
who you think is the
Texas?
best. Yeah, who's good in auditing all these travel nurses?
Hopefully
Is
not
it
New York for
Texas? New
Anna's sake.
York? New York. Still New York.
California, actually, it's
Fine. Got
Ooh.
me.
California.
Got
So
me.
if you are a traveling nurse in California and you are screwing up your tax returns, um, please be aware that California is the number one who's very good in auditing this
Hmm.
tax returns, and New York too. Yes, New York. I got audited.
Fine.
I got audited because what was the problem? Was the reason why I followed what my recruiter said. My
Mhm.
first ever recruiter. Should I name the company? I know. I think they're losing money already. Anyway, so but I'm not gonna name it. I think they're a dying company. But I got audited
Fine.
because my recruiter said. I told the recruiter I am working in New York City, still on the weekends. Um, what is this thing that I have? Oh no, you're fine. You can just go there, upstate New York, and just come back.
Mhm.
right? And during that time, the standardized deduction and itemization was different, right? The standardized deduction before 2018 was actually below, and a lot of nurses would itemize things, and it's a combination of crook tax preparer that I did not know, and a combination of crook recruiter that screwed me up. After 4 years, I was audited and had to pay back those things. So again, two items that you will have to take care of there is make sure you get a good accountant, and anybody who will give you tax advice should be a tax pro, not your recruiter. Agree or disagree, Paul?
Absolutely.
Paul, Drew, and
Say that
Anna?
again. I'm sorry.
The only person that you should get tax information advice is your professional tax,
Correct.
prof-
Agree.
not your recruiter.
Not my
Yeah,
best
not
friend.
not your Facebook friends.
And also, I've been told by a recruiter who is working offshore about tax here that I can just take it. I said that's a red flag because you're not from the United States. If the people in the United States doesn't even know taxation in the US, I mean, what more you who's outside the US? So please, I have nothing against offshore recruiters, but I think there's also accountability when it comes to listening or being giving information. Travel agencies, travel companies, please watch your recruiters offshore. Yes, this happening that they are giving tax information to travelers. Correct, guys?
Yeah.
Did you experience that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody who's listening in LinkedIn, please pay attention to your vendors who are using offshore recruiters.
They
Um,
even tell you sometimes how much you're gonna make after taxes. But how do you know that? Taxes are
Yeah.
Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, so there's a lot of misinformation regarding taxation that is being brought out by a lot of offshore recruiters. I think they should know their limitation when recruiting. No, they shouldn't be giving that. But anyway, we're running out of time, 9 minutes, and we have a couple more things, right? All right. Do you agree that as a travel contract or a contractual nurse, you should strike when the pot is hot? Have you heard about that thing? Strike when the
Yeah.
pot is hot,
Uh-huh.
right? Have you used that in your own experience, Paul? I mean, you did in COVID, so probably most
Yeah.
likely you did a strike.
Yeah. I'm at the peak of my earning ability, so I'm gonna strike while the iron is hot, of course. Agreed.
Yeah. How about you, Drew? Did you do that? Like prior to COVID pandemic, you saw when there was a contract that was hot. Did you stay longer, or you just, I'm gonna leave this like that?
No, absolutely. If I was enjoying a contract and it was paying well and I could put up with it, absolutely. Same thing when you find a good contract, like I was talking earlier
Mm-hmm.
after doing your research. I mean, you got to jump on it quickly. A good contract's not going
Hmm.
to last long. You've got to
Right.
apply and submit. There is no, you're throwing in some negotiation through that as well. We're talking, within 30 minutes to an hour, let's get some.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how about you, Anna? Did you stay in one job even though you did not have planned to stay, but then there were, opportunities that were there and you changed
For
plan?
me, the first year that I traveled, I was striking while the iron was so hot. But during COVID, because the OR, they stopped doing OR. I stayed in one hospital, even if when they're really paying more, because they're paying all the ER nurses and the ICU. So yes, I stayed
All
and I
right.
tried.
Oh, I lost my notes. Yeah, so I recommend a lot of travelers right now. If you are in a good contract, I recommend consider assessing the market before you move out. Okay, so because I've seen a lot of nurses, they think that this is going to be lasting forever until they hit with a 2024 rates that, like Drew
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, that he knew that the rates are going down, but it went down beyond what his expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so there is in travel nursing, there's never a guarantee of your future that you'll be here. I'm lucky that my trend was uphill from
Mm-hmm.
2008. That the trend of pay of travel nursing was uphill, but again, it went ballistic high and just crashed down. And it went down below what was the market value pre-pandemic. But do you think, Drew, that that the rates will go up eventually again back to the acceptable level, not the COVID pandemic, right? But just on the acceptable market rate. Do you think that it's going to come back?
I think it's going to take time, but I do think things will balance
Mm.
out. I think there's going to. I mean, we do have a national shortage of nursing. I mean, that's not been fixed. There is still a need, but I think we've been through a crazy cycle of the travel nurse market. Um, I think a lot of people are kind of leaving travel nursing right now. The market's just trying to figure things out. Um, will rates go back up to a more normalized rate in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? I don't know. It could be longer. But yeah, I do expect them to normalize eventually.
Anna, do you have you've ventured out of travel nursing.
Mhm.
You now are going for your master's degree, correct?
Yeah.
And that is like an exit plan for me, the way I see
Mhm.
it. Oh, where are you? There you go. You lost. All right. So, um, travel nursing is not as abundant as before, but it's still a need, correct?
It is.
And
Yeah.
there's still a lot of new nurses who are coming in and wouldn't want to try this career path. What be your best advice for them at this point when they're starting?
Well, I've learned a lot following both of you guys, and throughout the years of my traveling career for 5 years, one thing I've learned that to be always flexible, like to sign up with a lot of agency, and to be very good with your finances, especially with the retirement. That I will never forget those. Every time I see group post on his group and you, and always have a backup plan, like going back to school, doing other job aside traveling. So I think that's the best thing to do. Always have an option. Because like what you said, nothing's permanent. They might come back or might not come back. But I think pay and Drew and Paul, even if the rate is okay, I'm still not gonna travel because sometime in school for my master's of education, I really want to be an educator. So right now, I'm working as a staff or nurse. At the same time, I'm practicing to be an educator. So even if the high is okay, the rate is okay, I think I'm gonna venture out eventually. It's only a matter of time, and this is the time, and I'm happy about it. Like I feel like the rate dropping is only a um, you know, another convincing factor for me to start traveling.
Thank you, Anne. It's very important that people will have to look beyond, correct? Look
Mm-hmm.
beyond what travel nursing will come. How about you, Drew? You know, a lot of our foreign nurses who are watching right now, Riel is watching in Israel, Holy Land, right? So I'm pretty sure they've heard of travel nursing and they're curious and they will just finish their contract of 2 to 3 years. And maybe a lot of them are looking into travel nursing, like McRinnan, right? Would there be like an advice that you want to take from here? And a lot of these contract nurses, foreign nurses, went through difficulty, in being assigned in tough situation. Being a traveler is double the toughness, right? In my opinion, is double. What are your advices right now for them to become a successful traveling nurse?
Oh man, I could talk to you for days about
I
this.
know, but if you're
Thank
gonna
you.
pick two, top
Yeah,
two.
yeah. One thing that I really preach is adequate savings. Like Kay said, we take on a lot of risk. So I mean, things can happen. A contract can get canceled. You know, your housing could be super expensive, or maybe it's a housing scam, as you know, it has unfortunately happened. Maybe you get injured while traveling. Having the adequate savings really prevents you from being stranded, from being desperate. You got to have adequate savings. If not, you're just taking on more risk. That's one thing I preach. And two is just having the right mindset, knowing what your goals are,
Mm-hmm.
and then knowing loyalty to one agency just makes it easier for them to take advantage of you. The power of being able to walk away, having options gives you so much leverage to negotiate.
That's a very important thing that you said there is empowering yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
not giving that power to the people who's actually giving you money. but it's actually looking into situation that you guys will collaborate together to get that money together. I think that's important that nurses will understand that it's not only the recruiter who's doing the job here, you're doing the job too, and both
Yeah.
of you working together in a business, very good business relationship, will omit a successful traveling assignment. Paul, any last words on our viewers regarding how to become successful in travel nursing, aside from setting goals, like Drew said, also is advocating for your own self, understanding the risks involved, and preparing for those to mitigate.
Mhm.
Anything that you want to add to that, Paul?
Yeah, well, sorry, first of all, for having the
No,
electricity
we're
cut
not
off
sorry
again.
about you. You're in the
Whole
beach,
island,
okay? We're not
Yeah,
the
sorry
whole
we're
for
island,
we're
sorry.
the
not.
whole island's power cut off again for the second time today. But I like what Drew said about having that ability to walk away. If things, if something is not up to your standards or what you want, I think that's a very good strategy for being successful in travel nursing business. But for me, two things. One is being good with numbers, and being good with numbers will allow you to compute your paycheck before you even receive the paycheck. That way you can compare. It's not only about the per hour rate, because the cost of living is a factor, the application of expenses is a factor. For example, in my case, I had to decline a contract somewhere in Vermont because the Airbnbs are like 5,000 a month. So yes, they're paying me
Wow.
7,500 a week, but 5,000 a month for something just don't make sense. But if you're good with your number, you're gonna see that way ahead of time before you even take that risk. Also, that includes your ability to strategize for your taxes, your ability to invest and save money. And number two for me is clear goals. Everybody said this already. Travel nursing is not a permanent solution to something, it is temporary. You're coming in there because you have a clear goal. And for the most part, our commonality, all four of us here, is financial. And
Mhm.
once you reach that, what's the next step? You should have a clear goal. Otherwise, you're going to be burnt out like everyone else, stuck into this travel nursing chain because they don't have an exit plan. So with clear goals, you
Mhm.
know how to enter, you know when to exit, you know what you're looking for, you know when to, move on to the next phase in your life because it's something temporary. For the most part, some people could travel nurse for the rest of their nursing careers, but I have not seen many nurses doing that when they're 70 years old or 75 years old. So just think about it. It might be a temporary solution for you, but if it works for you, then it works for you, but you have to have a clear goal.
Yeah, thank you so much, you both of three of you. Sorry, three. For sharing your time. I'm gonna make an announcement too that yes, after 17 years, I'm hanging my travel nurse shoes. I'm joining
Oh,
that.
17
Yeah,
years.
yeah. After actually, I was planning to hang it like before pandemic. I was out of work for already eight. I think I was out of work for 8 months already, and then pandemic hit. I said, all right, I think I'm gonna go back. So it was actually unextended. So I had the goal there to exit since 2019, but pandemic hit. I was busy with my business that is growing, and yeah, 17 years I'm hanging my travel nursing shoes like everyone.
Wow.
Mhm.
Again, we're eight. I'm
Happy
getting old.
retirement.
And I think
Happy retirement, travel nursing.
right. So it's nice to have an exit plan, and for me, I think the best thing to there was there really having like everybody said, having goals to start and knowing your exit plan, because like Paul said, this is a temporary thing, temporary career path, and you should look beyond. And you should always ask for your whys. Why am I doing it? And if you're in a challenging situation right now under contract, just because your colleagues are challenging but the job itself is legit, there's no illegal things that are happening or putting your license to risk, but it's just the challenging. I recommend you to always, when you feel like you're quitting, always go back to your goals, and always remember why you started. Again, when you're feeling like you're ready to quit, because a lot of travelers, trust me, on their first week they just want to head the door out. But then they look back again. What was my goals? why did I started this again? If you're in that tough situation, always look at your goals. So goals are very important to do at the beginning, and always have an exit plan. Plan B, there are risks, like Drew said, you have to mitigate those risks and have plan. Financial support is very important. Um, all I can say is always look beyond what your current situation is. If travel
Mhm.
nursing will get you this, for what? For what and for what? Always look at the whys of where you're doing things, because this will prevent you from burnout. And I love what Paul said earlier, that travel nursing give him flexibility to be on extended vacation, because I believe nursing is very mentally challenging
Mhm.
profession, and everybody should just have a break. And anybody who was watching us in LinkedIn, hi leaders, CNO,
Please listen.
CNOs, it's not easy to be on the front line, but nurses are one of the most patient professionals, and I think it's just right to give them the break if they are requesting that. If you want your staff to stay, they only ask you for one time vacation to spend with their families. And if you're not gonna give that, then there is really going to, lower their morals and their trust in this organization. So again, they're only asking a simple vacation. And that is the only, for me, one impactful thing why I would travel right now, is to be able to take vacation when I wanted to take care of my family
Mm.
if they need me. So don't spare that from them. Right? Thank you guys. Have a great weekend to you all.
Thank
And
you, Drew.
Paul, yeah,
Thank
thank
y'all.
you.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoy
Thank
your
Thanks,
you
Drew.
so much.
baby and wife,
Oh,
We hope to have you in
Kyla.
future shows, Drew. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, Carolyn, thank you for joining us all the way from Riyadh. Paul, wanna show us what's up for next week?
Yep, for next week in DNP Unlocked. Let's see the banner. All right, so episode 28, contract negotiation. We'll see you guys April 21, Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'll be in the States by then, so we'll see you.
Oh wow, it's just such a quick trip, Paul.
It's a
Quick
very quick
vacation.
trip. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
But let me enjoy
Thank
my
you all.
beach. Welcome to
okay.
Boracay.
All right. Well,
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna
Drew. Thank
yeah.
you, Paul.
Yeah,
See
I'm
Thanks.
gonna
y'all.
head now to Washington
See ya.
DC to watch that Sakura festival. So see you all guys there. Bye bye.
See
Bye,
ya.
everyone.
Bye.
See y'all.